Hey, what's going on, everybody? Boilon here, and welcome to patch 7.5. Yes, today we have had the official launch of the patch, which is to include, of course, the Superior 6 and the Sinister 6 rework. So we have a lot to talk about with these characters. Specifically, though, what I want to do in today's video is I want to do a little bit of a kind of recap as to what to expect over the next couple of days and the next week as far as the patch goes. I also want to kind of, in the second half of the video, I want to talk about Dark Dimension 6 and what characters will be relevant from this patch in there. Specifically, I think we have to talk about City, obviously, because that's kind of where a lot of these characters are going to land. And now that I've had a chance to take, really kind of sit down and take a look at some of the characters, it is going to make me change, the characters that I am going to be bringing up to Dark Dimension 6 City, specifically 1 or 2 slots that are going to be changed out now for some of the new characters. And I kind of want to go over that and my thoughts with you guys and see if, maybe in the comments down below later on, whether or not you have specific thoughts on these characters as well. So if you're ready to go, everybody, let's boil this down. So what happened in patch 7.5? Well, obviously we had the reworks to Doc Ock, actually all of the other older Sinister Six, but realistically, I think that Rhino and Shocker got the short end of the stick. I don't think we're going to be talking a whole lot about them in this video. We're going to be talking about, though, some of the ones who are kind of seen as the better ones and the better reworked, which is Electro, Mysterio, and Vulture. You may have seen some content creators, some of the Envoy content creators showing off kind of like gameplay war footage with Doc Ock, the legendary Green Goblin Classic with Electro, Mysterio, and Vulture, and just honestly kicking the shit out of like a ton of stuff in Alliance War. Now, so these of the reworked characters, these are the ones I'm most interested in. That's why I've kind of hearted that. Now I have them all hearted, but I think as far as bringing them up, I think it's going to be these 3 characters as well. And also because they're fully available, which means that you can get them up to 7 yellow, 7 red, right? The gold promos are just so easy to get now these days. I took Doc Ock to 7 red, and I took actually Mysterio was already 7 red from a previous poll. I took Electro to 6 red, and I'm looking for a 7 red Vulture as well, because I think I'm going to be using them quite a bit. Now, as far as the newer characters goes, of course, we only actually, this is really surprising to me. We actually only have 4 characters this patch. Now, I guess that means it's probably only going to be like a month. We're going to have another patch probably early December. And so this is just for the month of November. That being said, maybe they're actually slowing character releases down a little bit. We'll have to wait and see. So we have Green Goblin. We have the legendary Green Goblin Classic Trial event that's going to be coming later on in November. We have Craven the Hunter, who has 100 shards. I want to take a look at the shards as well. So Craven is 100 shards. Lizard is 45. And Spider Slayer is 45. What I like about this, though, is that they're kind of slowly giving us more 45 shard character unlocks. This is in the past when they used to actually give you a ton, if not all of them were 100 shards, which means that this is a little bit more player friendly. We'll talk a little bit about the characters just in general. Obviously, this is supposed to be a Cosmic Crucible team. The other thing I want to take a look at is I think there were supposed to be a couple of new costume characters. I don't normally look at this kind of stuff, but I have to remember. I have to remember, like, there's so many costumes. Maybe this is stupid for me to bring up, actually. I normally like looking at the new costumes, but now that I realize we have so many costumes these days, I can't actually remember who actually got, so never mind, we're not going to talk about that. But we do have the Sword Satellite, which is actually coming very soon. It's coming tomorrow, in fact. Now, because the mail... Sorry, guys. I was holding in that cough. I still have a bit of a cough from my COVID. We got this mail in here talking about coming soon, Sword Satellite. This says, in just a few days. This was kind of funny, right? Because it's actually coming tomorrow. So one thing that I would do kind of off the bat, now I know you don't need to do this, but I would kind of work on your Save Squad tab. It's probably super dated. For me, what I did is I deleted everything. I haven't redone this yet myself. I'm going to do this for basically my top teams, because that's what we can expect of Sword Satellite, is that you're going to be using, essentially your top, I would say your top 10 best teams. Like, I think anything under 1 million for some people is just not going to cut it, depending on what you're going up against. So I would really make sure that you're using your best teams. And, because for some people, wherever the hell the blitz menu is, you know, this is not necessarily full teams. Some people just use mix and match teams because that's what I do to kind of like maximize my win ratio, is you don't actually have to use the full team in its entirety to get a win. I normally combine other shittier characters like minions so that they can get wins in that way, and so on and so forth. So yeah, make sure that you resort your tower mode category or create them for the upcoming Sword Satellite, which should be in tomorrow, and we'll get some... I'm not sure if I'll be able to get to, you know, record or do anything about that because I'm kind of traveling again starting tomorrow, so don't expect a whole lot over for the next couple of days. I'm probably not going to be able to get blogs with Boilon. I'm actually on my way to Norway, coming soon tomorrow and Friday, so I'll be on the move again. But anyways, what I really wanted to talk about, though, in this video is how this patch is kind of changing my expectations for Dark Dimension 6. So, for those of you who might be following along in my series, yeah, I know not a ton of people are watching it, but anyways, what I've been up to lately is I'm currently going through Cosmic. Those videos will be out pretty soon, and I haven't finished Cosmic yet, but I'm preparing for City. And so some of these picks are just for me, which I think are what I want to do. I've already taken Miss Marvel Hardlight to 18, and that's it so far. And Ghost Rider Robbie, I think these two, because I think Secret Defenders are going to last for a very long time. Arena meta characters typically do, and so I'm pretty comfortable in upgrading those two characters. Beyond that, what used to be on this list for City, so Swarm's always been here. So Swarm is a very Boilon pick, and you guys probably know, for all of the time I've spent talking about Swarm in the past, in Infestation, things like that, and just Swarm in general in Sinister 6, this is a reason why I've wanted to do it. It's just, it's for me. It's for my own want to finish him off, to max him out. So beyond that, I have two other picks for myself. And one of them I've decided, which is going to be Vulture. Now, Vulture is a very interesting... I'll click off him just to kind of show you where he is down here. Now, Vulture is in the 44 category down here. This is where Vulture is. And I'm really happy about that, because he's got the rework, and his kit is actually pretty good now. It was okay before, but it's a lot better now, and in relation to what you would expect from Dark Dimension. The other character that I had on here was Spider-Man Big Time. I still kind of want to do this, but now I'm stacking up so much tech now, considering that, because if I put both of them up there, they're not that expensive to build, but then that gives me two more tech characters just for a city. I did do, you know, and then we have, of course, I'm thinking about both Doc Ock and Green Goblin for the non-Horseman Legendary. Now, if I were to chop Doc Ock out, that would be okay. I actually did not realize how expensive he was. For some reason, I thought he was cheaper than he was. I did not know he was 110. I actually thought he was more like 66, and so I kind of forgot about that. So I'm not sure. I might end up pivoting back to Nick Fury again. I haven't really decided, because the more tech that I add into the city section, the more I kind of can't really do Doc Ock, even though I really, really want to do that. So this is where I'm kind of at right now, is whether or not I carry on with Spider-Man Big Time, or we do one of the other characters from the recent patch. Now, one thing that I am considering, of course, is that I don't want to do anyone from 88 or the 110 category, which largely is, you know, we're not doing Rhino, and it would include Electro, but I'm not going to do that either. I do like Electro's rework, but not enough to do an 88 kind of character. So in the 66 category, we have... Now, I don't want to do things like New Warriors. I basically said, no, I will not do New Warriors, anything like that. I'm not doing Firestar, don't care, because I just don't really want to bring them up anymore. And that's very much a Boilon thing. You know, I just really don't want to raise my New Warriors up any further. So as far as the characters from this patch goes, we have the option of Craven, who is skill. Lizard, who is bio, also part of that 66 category. Not really. I really don't want to do Shocker, and I don't think I want to add another tech character at this point, because I'm already thinking about a Vulture and maybe Spider-Man Big Time. I really don't want to add Spider Slayer on top of that, but we'll take a look at the characters' kits in terms of their kind of standalone viability in Dark Dimension. There is Ronin as well. Like, because I had Shang-Chi on here originally, but I think I had to kind of take him out. I think it was just that I had to use one of these other characters. Some people are going with Ronin, but I'm not either. You know, if I wasn't doing Swarm, maybe I would consider one of these other skill characters. But I want to kind of go one by one and take a look at the merits of some of these characters from this patch. Specifically, I want to start with, actually, where was Mysterio on the list? Is he really high up? Oh, he's way at the... Okay, we're not going to take a look at Mysterio. He's 110. No, F that. Okay, so let's take a look at Vulture, because he's the one that I really wanted to bring in, and who is definitely going to be making the list. So what I really like about this rework is not, it's not just his basic attack. It's a very basic damage attack, but it's his special and his ultimate. So Fight and Flight. On a cooldown of 4, attack primary and adjacent targets for 300, plus clear 2 positive effects. That is great, and I think this is new, actually. And apply offense down for 2 turns and slow for 2 turns. These are really great debuffs. Slow is fucking amazing. Slow is so great in Dark Dimension, it's going to make a mountain of difference. Offense down is a great mitigating debuff as well to help, reduce the amount of damage that your team's going to take. This attack also gains 1,000% extra focus. This is like basically guaranteed to land. And it's clearing 2 positive effects before applying the debuffs. So what's great about that is that if they have immunity up, you could have a chance to clear the immunity and then still add the debuffs, which is really amazing. And it's on a cooldown of 4, which is pretty respectable. Vulture also has a lot of speed and has some great ways to get speed. Now, the ultimate does all enemy damage for 320% and reduce speed bar by 25%. This is good as well. It does extra damage if they're on if they're below 50% max health. So it's nothing crazy. If anything, the special got much more of a buff than the ultimate did. It's okay. It's on a cooldown of 6. Kind of wish it was on a little bit of a lower cooldown. Maybe 4 or 5 would have been great, given that it doesn't really do a ton extra. Speed bar is great, of course, but that's all it does. The passive, what I really like about the changes to this is the fill speed bar by 10%, plus 10% speed bar per hero enemy. So I don't know how many hero enemies there are in Dark Dimension on spawn necessarily, but that would lead to basically Vulture getting a guaranteed start. And so that with the special would be very, very good for Dark Dimension. Not to mention where else you're going to use Vulture, whether that's Alliance War or Cosmic Crucible. After all characters have spawned, if this character has 2 or more Superior 6. Now, unfortunately, this probably is not going to happen in a Dark Dimension context unless I pulled in Craven and Lizard, probably. I would have to pull in 2 others, of course, in order to have this work, but they would apply speed up to self and all Sinister 6 allies, which actually would go with my Swarm. So I don't know, like, if I maybe if I didn't do Spider-Man big time... Well, no, because I still couldn't do this because I'm doing Miss Marvel and Ghost Rider. I think that's impossible for me at this point, unfortunately, but that's okay. It's not that big of a deal. On ally or enemy death, gain 2 deflect and fill speed bar by 25%. That is really good as well. And the block chance for each hero enemy. So this could potentially stack up quite a bit. And also he gets 50% drain. And yeah, if I had more, then they'd get drain as well. So very good contender here. And because he's cheap at 44, I'm already on the course to raising him. So I think that's going to be a good pick. Now I want to talk about Craven as well because he's skill. And I think a lot of people still have a fair bit of skill gear to talk about, to use potentially, whether in the Dark Dimension context or otherwise. So what kind of debuffs does he have? Well, he's got to apply offense down to up to 2 targets here, so primary target and chain to 1 adjacent target. His special, which is on a cooldown of 5, flips immunity and applies ability block to the primary target, and then chains to adjacent targets, and also gets offense down for 2 turns to each target, and then does more flipping. So that's pretty good. Unfortunately, it doesn't do more than that. The rest of it's on Crucible specifically, but that's okay. And the ultimate, which is on a cooldown of 6, is an AoE and applies bleed, offense down, and slow. So again, more slow. And you could kind of pair this with Vulture and kind of do them on different turns, right? They can alternate so that hopefully slow is kind of always applied. It does flip death proofs. It does flip stealth. And then if the target has offense down already, it applies 2 additional bleeds to those targets and slow for 2 turns to that target. So you could kind of like create a 2-turn slow from a 1-turn slow if they have offense down, which, both Craven can do and Vulture does on his special. So there's a lot of ways that they synergize to be able to add to that. So I think that Craven is a character that I'm really looking at. The problem is I don't know when Craven's going to come out. Right? Is he going to be towards the front of the patch? Towards the end of the patch? Am I going to come to a point where I'm just sitting there waiting? Like I need to upgrade somebody? Do I want to wait for Craven? That's the other thing. On spawn. So unfortunately, now this sounds amazing, right? If we could have this in Dark Dimension, this would be amazing. But again, I guess the question is, for everyone else, you could dump Swarm and add Craven and Lizard here instead of using Swarm, and that would give Vulture plus 2 Superior 6 members. And so that's what I would personally recommend. I'm just still doing Swarm because Swarm is a very Boilon thing that I want to do. I still think that Miss Marvel and Ghost Rider are still very powerful. and I think it's worth upgrading them. But you could also, if you, because it's mutant, right? So I do want to make use of some of my mutant gear, which I already did for Miss Marvel Hardlight. But there's options here that if you want to do a full, Sinister 6, Superior 6 kind of thing going on, I think you very much could. And on enemy turn, gain 1 charge, flip slow on a non-summoned ally that has slow, and flip heal block. Oh, wait. A non-summoned ally, yeah, that has slow. So this is really nice, too, because this actually isn't subject to specifically Sinister 6. This part here, flipping slow. So it could be on anyone, really. So he's got a really good kit. Now, let's look at Lizard, finally, because I kind of want to take a look at what he has as far as, is he better than the others? And mainly, I'm just looking at kind of what negative status effects they have, because that really helps when it comes to Dark Dimension. So bleed and heal block, flip a random positive effect to slow, flip another random positive effect to heal block. If any target is a Hero Spider-Verse or is a support, apply ability block on a cooldown of 4. This one here is on a longer cooldown on 6. Clear Disrupted. So this one's, I don't think that Lizard has as good of a kit, in my opinion, as far as debuffs go for Dark Dimension. I think Craven has a really amazing kit, and he's skilled, so he's definitely going to get a shoe-in for me. So I think I'm going to be adding in Craven in this spot. I think I've kind of convinced myself that Craven's going to go in there. I think I'll probably wait for him, honestly. And that replaces Shang-Chi for me personally. Spider Slayer, this is the last one now. I don't really want to do that. I don't think I'm going to do this, but I just want to kind of take a look at the kind of negative status effects here. We do flip offense up, evade speed up, so there's good flipping. Does apply defense up and deflect to self and all villains, so that's good if you're using like a Dark Dimension 6 City villain team. But again, I have 2 heroes on my side. The ultimate, now this is on a super long ass cooldown. This is like, what is that, 6, 8? This is really bad. And so not very good for Dark Dimension. There's really no good negative status effects either. So, yeah, I'm not super convinced on Spider Slayer, not super convinced on Lizard. But Craven I am very much convinced of, and Vulture as well. And so that's my plans. That's my plans for Dark Dimension 6 City, which hopefully will be coming up in a couple of weeks, maybe less, honestly. I'm running through Cosmic right now. It depends on how fast I get my gear. It doesn't look like I need a whole lot left to kind of start doing things. And so my goal right now is to bring my Sinister 6 up, right? I need to finish getting... Oh, sorry. I need to finish getting my Vulture up, so my Vulture's sitting at level 80. I need to bring him up a little bit more. I think I'm going to focus on getting him up first because of Dark Dimension 6. And then I guess it really just depends on the release order of the characters. So when are we getting Craven? I hope that he's towards... he's 100 shards, so I'm not sure if he's going to be towards the start. He might be somewhere in the middle. But honestly, I'm not really sure at this point, and so that's kind of the big determinant factor as to whether or not I delay my start to Dark Dimension 6 City, or if I wait for Craven. I kind of want to wait for Craven, honestly. And I think he's one of the best characters of the patch. As far as, without looking at anything, just looking at the broad kit, I think Craven has the broadest kit and kind of like the best kit, in my opinion. Also his skill. I know love people will want to use their skill gear on this, and I think I will too as well. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. What are your thoughts on the characters overall in the Superior 6 and the Sinister 6 reworks? I think there's still a lot more that I want to talk about, because I think there's some really great characters. We need to spend a little bit more time talking about the whole Mysterio and Electro and the other rework characters, because there's a lot of great things there. But specifically, I wanted to talk about Dark Dimension 6, because that's kind of what I've been doing a lot lately. So that's the end of the video, everyone. Until next time, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see y'all later, and welcome to patch 7.5. Boilon, signing out.